As I said, Andrew Tate is a toxic metaframer, and if you listen to my videos where toxic metaframing is explained and you have to understand it, a lot of people conflate toxic and toxic metaframing. It's not necessarily the same thing. And I received a couple of responses, of course only from libido suppressed guys, and I'm going to comment on them. I usually don't read them, I instantly ban them. I'm gonna do that now because that's how you deal with toxic metaframers or narcissists or toxic people. You immediately block them from your life, but you have to understand the difference between toxic metaframing and normal communication. You could say normal critique. So once you understand the difference, and that's why I'm going to talk about it now, you can deal with each individually. Now, what is very important is understanding that over 50, if not 80%, if not 90% of people on the internet, but also in real life, over 50 in real life, over 80 on the internet, so maybe 80% in real life, who knows, are toxic metaframers. That means you should only find 10 to 20% of people to be your close associates, your close friends, and those are not toxic metaframers. They're positive talkers. They give compliments. By the way, compliments are the exact opposite of a toxic metaframe. So I'm gonna decode basically toxic metaframing with examples right now of people that commented under the Andrew Tate video. So if you are open-minded, if you're very conscious, it's going to blow your mind if you haven't understood it yet. If you are yourself toxic, you're probably going to be triggered again by the same thing. So let's get into it. So here it says, I feel you should listen to some more of his videos and try to understand better. A lot of the shit talking, he does it to be brutal truth, but uplift us men. He jokes a lot too in his vids with a lot of truth behind it. Now, I feel you should listen to some more of his videos and try to understand better is like a medium toxic metaframe. It's not really I don't want to go into a discussion with him because I learned that people who don't immediately understand or try to understand my point of view usually will never, and it just becomes a very problematic discussion. So because what he's literally asking for is kind of a more of a detailed explanation in order to understand it, and I'm not ready to do that. I know a lot about Andrew Tate in terms of like videos that I've seen, because I found it very intriguing, but I knew that something is wrong with him in the sense that there is some trauma, some karmic problems. And when he started doing toxic metaframing, it became, or he always did it, but it became more obvious. Then it was very clear to me where he's at. So here, Polynesian Rebel, shut up, geek. It's encouragement because he's not in shape. So shut up, geek is a toxic metaframe. It is that person's libido is suppressed because they're not living in their joy, and by giving out an insult, they're trying to suppress my own libido and joy. So that's why he says shut up, geek. Shut up, geek is basically nothing else than the attempt to suppress my libido power in terms of like I say, libido self-empowerment is to follow higher joy or opportunity for higher joy, or for follow sexuality or higher opportunity for sexuality. And by just saying shut up, geek, it's basically a toxic metaframe because it's trying to put me down. But not everything, you're gonna get it after a while. You have to listen to my videos where I explain toxic metaframing in detail. It's kind of like a generalization, and it's kind of like saying you're dumb. Okay, it's not just a critique. It's actually a way to put a metaframe over you, a toxic metaframe, and make you feel bad about yourself. So this is a comment. I'll just shadow ban this person completely. And by the way, it doesn't matter, and this is super important, it doesn't matter how many dislikes you get or how many people agree with that person. Because you see, if you went into society, let's say you go to a marketplace and somebody says in the marketplace you're an idiot, and everybody else in the marketplace says the same thing. They're all toxic metaframers, so they're all unhappy. Everybody's unhappy about their life, and actually toxic metaframing is a way to actually show that you're unhappy. So all of these people just are showing that they're unhappy. And so how do you deal with them? Just cut them away from your life, and you're going to have a lot of people that are going to agree with the toxic metaframers. And the best thing, as for me as a creator, and as an understanding libido, self-empowerment, being spiritually awakened, and understanding toxic metaframing, I just cut them completely. And they're usually very young, so they're high testosterone. They're not living their libido and joy life, the sacral chakra, and so they're gonna be very much triggered. Because they cannot fap because their mother is next door, whatever, I don't know. But it's literally exactly toxic. It's like the prime example of toxic metaframing. Oh, here it says, this is interesting. So, when this guy, when I told you I feel you should listen to some more of his videos, he failed to comment before again. He said, toxic metaframe, blah, blah. Andrew Tate speak a lot of facts you all don't like to hear. This blah, blah is a toxic metaframe because he doesn't want to, of course, learn it. So we can ban him completely also from his other comment. And then here somebody says beta, or the beta, which is, let me put on the camera again, sometimes goes off every 30 minutes. So he says here beta, and he's basically trying with one word trying to push me down. That's an instant shadow ban. And here's a very nice toxic metaframe, goofiest video I've ever watched, and it gets three likes, because people, like I said before, you're gonna have 80% of toxic metaframes. By the way, like attracts like, so you're gonna have a ton of toxic metaframers around and interested in Andrew Tate. You're gonna have 80-90% of toxic metaframers, and they basically, anybody who's a toxic metaframer, and this is for the women, is extremely toxic to be in a relationship with. That means basically that all these men are actually toxic to be in a relationship with, and the women feel that, and so they avoid these men, and that results in men even being more unhappy and even toxic metaframing than women, which Andrew Tate does as well. So, and now he's trying to clean up that image, but who has, the one who has followed this from the beginning knows what it's like. And notice something super important. None of the women around Andrew Tate seem happy. They always seem like almost like ghosts in their face. They seem like, or sometimes they seem like they don't really want to be there. Which is not, I don't want to diss it in that sense because they choose their life, but it shows like what energy level they're on, which frequency they're on. And I'm sure they find, moments of joy, but it's I can feel from, as an energy healer, I can feel that this is something that I would not want to be involved in, because I know that whatever money you have, whatever things you have, if you do toxic metaframing, you're actually destroying the harmony of the environment. And I mean environment by the community of the people that are together. And the opposite of toxic metaframing, by the way, is compliments. So if people give compliments to each other rather than toxic metaframing, it will create a tremendous harmony and well-being in the group. And I never see that with the Tates. It's always about toxic metaframing, alcohol, money, and Yeah, let's just continue. Okay, so this goofiest video ever watched. So he could have 100 likes under that. It wouldn't faze me at all, because, you know, over 80% people and probably 99% of people that follow Andrew Tate are toxic. So let's remove that, hide it. Then somebody says biggest load of waffle. Absolute classic toxic metaframe. Somebody else says facts. Okay, to that also hide. Heavy stuff and interesting observations. You can just seem to be triggered by space and healthiness, by grace and health, almost like grace and rage, to set each other off. Notice something you fumble. Notice something you fumble while saying authenticity. Everyone have their own word they can pronounce easily. Take conscious effort. Is it due to changes in syllable? Okay. Yeah, that was pretty much it. So they're maybe they're held for review. No, they're not. Okay, so there weren't that many responses. Well, the video didn't get that many views, but so those were some examples of toxic metaframing. It's literally and it got 7 dislikes for 100 views. So triggered a lot of people. And by the way, toxic metaframers are going to be ultra triggered if you show them, if you reflect to them what they're doing. And narcissists will get aggressive and mad. Super interesting. And conscious people will be, okay, interesting. Okay, I didn't know this. So you have these 3 reactions usually.